Hello everyone and welcome to episode 62 of the Layton Fitness podcast. Now in today's episode we're going to be discussing cardio placement within the context of the fat loss phase. And when I refer to placement, I'm referring to logistically where are we placing the cardio in relation to our weight training. So are we placing it before the weight training? Are we placing it after the weight training, on our rest days, another time of the day? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is I had two questions in the gym, one today and one yesterday, and it was the exact same question. And the question goes like this: should I put my cardio before my weight training or after the weight training? And hopefully this podcast will really dive into depth of the reasons why I suggest you place your cardio, if you do use cardio within the fat loss phase, at certain points. So firstly, we need to take a step back and actually look at the bigger picture and look at what we're actually trying to achieve within a fat loss phase, and that is twofold. We're looking to achieve maximal fat loss, in addition to the second point is maximal lean mass retention. And that's the key point. By not really considering where we place the cardio in relation to a weight train, we can easily impede this second very critical goal, and that is lean mass retention, so muscle retention within the fat loss phase. And therefore, if you were to place your cardio immediately before your weight training sessions, which is what I see so many people doing all the time in the gym I train at personally, and I know across the country, and the reason why that's not an effective approach is there's no way you're going to be as strong performing your weight training session by doing your cardio first. So you can just imagine if you were doing a lower body session, so squats, you might be doing deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts, Bulgarian split squats, lunges, etc. Imagine if you did a run on the treadmill before doing that. Your strength is going to be severely hampered. By your strength being severely hampered, you are then going to therefore lose muscle within the fat loss phase. So that is critical that we place the cardio portion either immediately after the weight training session, another point of the day, so at least say a 2-3 hour gap between the cardio session and the weight training session, or on one of your days off, but never immediately before, because it's just going to directly impede that second very important goal of maintaining gym performance, maintaining strength within the fat loss phase. Just to clarify as well, when we're looking at the fat loss phase and we're discussing training, you need to realise that the weight training is the foundation of the routine. Just because this is going to help maintain muscle mass within the fat loss phase, and we're creating the energy deficit via cardio and decreasing calories. So you almost want to look at cardio and decreasing calories as merely tools to further the energy deficit needed for fat loss. But the weight training is the foundation. So that's the foundation in there, and then we're adding cardio, we're decreasing calories when needed. So those two are tools really, cardio, decreasing calories. Look at that as tools, and look at the weight training as your foundation within the fat loss phase. Additionally, we need to consider whether cardio is even necessary within the fat loss phase. So let's take a step back and realise that we need to be in an energy deficit for fat loss to take place, and therefore that could potentially be achieved by just weight training alone and then decreasing calories. The only problem you may run into by just following that approach is as you get leaner, there'll be a point where your calories start dropping so low that your weight training gym performance is hampered. To remember that second critical goal, maintaining gym performance, maintaining muscle mass within the fat loss phase. So by just focusing on weight training and reducing calories, we run that risk at some point within the fat loss phase where gym performance strength is severely hampered because of this. So at some point, especially if you're getting into the low teens, so below say 14% body fat for males and into the single figures for males and under 20% for females, by default there's going to be a point where you're going to need some cardio in addition to decreasing calories as well. But if you're over 20% for male and you're over 25% as a female, you could probably start with just weight training. But as I said, quickly you're going to be in a position where you're going to need some cardio, otherwise your calories are going to be so low and you're going to impede that gym performance. Let's next discuss the types of cardio you can use. There's three main types. There's high intensity interval training, which is ultimately short bursts of intense activity followed by rest, and then you're repeating. So this could be sprinting on the treadmill, this could be performing intervals on the rowing machine. So you might do a short burst as fast as possible, say 30 seconds, and you rest for 30 seconds and you repeat, or some variation. It doesn't have to be that exact time, but the interval is really doing short bursts of intense activity, rest, then you're repeating. Another option you could use is MIS, which is moderate intensity steady state. So this would be something like a run outside, a cycle, anything over 15-20 minutes at moderate intensity, and you're basically maintaining that speed for that length of time. Final option is what's called low intensity steady state. This is an example of that would be an incline walk on the treadmill. So it's relatively low intensity, and the goal with all of these within the context of fat loss and maintaining muscle mass is just to increase expenditure, to burn calories. Remember, we're not using these tools because we're athletes. We're not using this because we're trying to beat our 100-meter sprint. We're using this within the context of fat loss, within the context of lean mass retention. Therefore, we're just using these tools just to burn more calories. But at the same time, we need to appreciate that secondary goal of lean mass retention, maintaining that strength, and gym performance. So therefore, there's a couple of nuances we need to consider. I'd try and suggest using a combination of all three, or at least two of these. The reason why you wouldn't want to say, for example, rely on just MIS or moderate intensity steady state. The reason why there's certain endurance adaptation which will occur from performing this type of cardio, which is counterproductive for our strength training work. However, it's also important just to logistically look at this, and for most of my clients, because time's of a premium, I'll usually opt for high intensity interval training, then potentially some MIS further down the road for fat loss, just because they don't have a huge amount of time. And HIIT is a great tool for burning a lot of calories in a short space of time. But the overall point I'm trying to make here is use a combination and use what's most suited for you in terms of time, what you enjoy, and your overall goals. But that'll be the one point I would make. I wouldn't rely overly on the MIS because of that endurance adaptation. Less because the intensity is so low, you shouldn't see too much of that endurance adaptation. And HIIT is also beneficial because it matches weight training, i.e. short bursts of intense activity, rest and repeating. So it's very closely tied with that, but at the same time HIIT requires a decent amount of recovery like weight training, so you wouldn't want to overdo that as well. So it's going to be a combination, and again, use it as a tool merely to burn more calories in addition to decreasing calories as well within your food intake. Now, how long should these sessions be? It really depends. A good option I like to use with some of my clients is the high intensity interval training will just be, say, 10 minutes at the end of a session, and that will usually be anywhere around 20-30 seconds, going as fast as possible. Technically you can't sprint for that period of time, but you can go at a very high speed and then you're going to rest for 30 seconds, or go at slow speed for 30 seconds and you're repeating. And that seems easy, but I promise you, if you did that for 10 minutes, it is grueling. If you're doing that properly, you can burn a lot of calories in a short space of time. With the MIS, again, I wouldn't want to overdo this. Again, you're looking to use this tool to burn more calories. Anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes should be sufficient within the context of a fat loss phase. Less because you're going at a lower intensity, you may need to be doing this for slightly longer, so probably anywhere between 20 to 40 minutes for less. So just to recap, using these purely as tools to burn more calories. Additionally, it's important to use the lowest effective dose, in the sense that the ultimate goal of fat loss is to burn body fat on as many calories as possible while performing as little cardio as possible. And this will allow strength to be better maintained within the fat loss phase. You'll be able to maintain as much more muscle mass. Adherence will be higher because it's easier to stick to. So therefore, when you do hit a plateau, you want to make a small change, whether that's a small change to calories, small change by adding one extra cardio session, and you're going to measure your progress again and then make another change when you reach another plateau. So the point I'm making is, don't go from 0 cardio to 7 days a week cardio. Small increments in terms of cardio, and then likewise, when you're making a change with calories, a small decrease as well with calories. So hopefully you found this useful. Hopefully this has answered that question. In short, focus on putting the cardio either after the weight training session, another time of the day, or on your day off, rather than immediately before the weight training session. And hopefully you can start applying that immediately. If you're still yet to download my free ebook, How to Set Up a Nutrition Plan, go to jameslaytonfitness.co.uk, LAYTON, and you can download that immediately. Okay, thank you very much, guys. I look forward to speaking to you next week. Take care.